a little overview here. So now that we're doing the 201, the flow sheet for 201 is at the back of the book, starting on page, something or other. Oh, 167. Thank you. Okay, so on page 167 you have that. So here you have all the 101 plus the 201. And anywhere that's new posture, the 201 stuff is in bold. Okay? And in the descriptions, all of the 201 postures are bold and have two little stars next to them. Alright? So for example, you'll see something called the Shiva and Shakti twist. So that's on page 24. So that would be an example of the 201 posture. Alright? All set. Come on over. I'm going to ask you to be seated facing that way. Maybe inch up just a little bit. Good. So we're still going to use our 3-question method for checking in. For now, at least. How are you?
Really good.
Good. Anything I should know? Anything in your body physically going on right now?
My left QL feels a little like it's recovering right now, but I would say maybe about 10%.
Okay. So does it limit or restrict your movements?
So this is not a problem. It's more when you take it into stretch.
Mm-hmm. What about if you look that way, like have your shoulders turned that way? Does that?
Yeah, it's actually a lot better. I think the only time I'm really going to feel it is this way. If I'm dipping into like a back bend, like right there is when I feel it.
I see. Okay, good to know. Yeah. So you'll let me know. Try not to do anything to it.
Yeah.
What kind of pressure would you like then?
Grounded and firm, but not intense.
Okay, so grounded and firm and not intense. It kind of comes back to what we were saying, that maybe something like a 5 out of 10, so it's not too deep, but pausing, we're going to build up to those bigger pauses to help make it feel grounded. Okay. All right, good. So basically what we're going to do here, we're going to review 101 stuff, and then in certain places I'm going to be adding in some new things as well. All right? So as we know, we've started our massage in Namaskar behind our partner. Tuning in, sharing a breath, and grounding. Supporting them, and coming into our starting position. So I'm going to fill it a little bit. I'll use a blanket. For palming shoulders. Her shoulders are just a little bit in front, and even if they had the most perfect posture, there's something really inviting and relaxing just to have your hands on the shoulders for a moment. Then we can start doing our palming shoulders. So your hands over her shoulders, right where the shoulder meets the neck, your shoulders over your shoulders. So remember, we just want to be in this alignment where our shoulders are really right over hers. So that has to do with what you do with your back leg. Put it out there to the side so that it can help you to turn your body to face the front. And then easing into this one means side to side movements, lighter pressure, a lot lighter than what you think they've asked for, and shorter pauses. And then starting to take it from there. How's that pressure for you? Great. So you can see how I've eased into those longer pauses, but I haven't allowed my whole body to really rock forward too much and go into too much pressure. Okay, from palming shoulders, we have Udana stretch. So the arms come up, parallel. You cross your hands, so it's like you're shaking hands, right? And then that's where we go from here. So asking her to take a breath, and I'm going to lift her straight up, and then take a step back. Does this affect your QL at all in this direction? Okay. So this first version, we're bringing her back. Literally, your back leg might literally take a nice big step back. Your back knee bends, your front leg straightens, and you just lift her up and back. For someone as open as Stephanie, once you brought her back here, let's say the second time, you can also bend your front knee. And you see how her upper body just kind of opens up a little bit more. So we can do that. The second version of this was to do the same thing, but with their hands off your body, so if you didn't want it to touch you. The third one would be to ask her to place her own hands on her shoulders so that the elbows can point up. You slide your hands down in front of the elbows, and I like to just hold on to the sides so I don't hold on to the thin skin of her triceps, and lifting up and back. Okay, up and back, and then you can still push in here as well. Okay, so nice Thai 101 review, and another review one is going to be the rolling. So when we come on down to the mat, you have to decide based on your size relationship if you're going to put something under your knee or not. Okay. In our case, this is just fine, like this. I'm going to set up shop and become a wing chair. So my body pushes into the cushion, so does she, and then her arm is off to the side. The arm on your leg is really optional if it's heavy, if there's a big size relationship. So if you are bigger and you have a smaller person and their arm gets raised up really high, you can certainly take it off as well, or try to extend your front leg a little bit. Palming, or rolling pin. Let the head go off to the side. What if I take this on? So, again, easing into rolling pin, using our forearm, is all about using the middle of your forearm and circles. In fact, there are so many little sweet spots here that I would generally suggest to circle in this way with that lighter pressure, either circles or back and forth, just to kind of help melt the area, soften it up. Then sink in, palm faces down, roll until your palm faces up. And release, and repeat. Circling in, and then sinking in, applying that pressure. When you start to go in closer to your elbow, is when the pressure can become more precise and potentially more deep. So not really with the point of your elbow, but with the side of your elbow. And what we also talked about is how if you put a finger right under here, under the collarbone, then you can go in a little bit more in the back of the shoulder. And there are some really wonderful spots in the back there. You're getting more into the rhomboids and just juicy places back here. And for me, when I find a really good spot, I stop the moving. I just kind of pause and hang out. Release, and maybe find the next spot, kind of circle my way in and sink in, and then start to pause again. Okay, so some nice rolling pin review, and then from here, let's add some new stuff. So this first one, I'm giving you some more rolling pin options. It's called a splitting rolling pin, and we talked about bands in the last class and being aware of, how to work into wherever we find those bands to work one side, then the other, and then maybe both at the same time optionally. So here there's another band down the side of the head, down the side of the neck, and into the shoulder and down the arm. So you put your forearms together in the middle of the shoulder, and to just work one side, I let one arm, so this forearm is going to roll to the shoulder, and then it just anchors, and it just kind of elongates, but I'm not really doing my utmost to pull on both sides at the same time. So this is going to hang out here, and then my other one with really light pressure is going to roll right up the side of the neck, and even all the way onto the head, onto the skull. Okay, so the pressure is really light. Pressure up especially once you get up to the head, you're kind of really have the potential to elongate that band, and it's bone, it's not muscle. So it's a little bit of our exception to the rule. But there's something really sweet and glorious about feeling that roll go all the way up to the top of the head. So again, notice how I'm going literally all the way up to the top, but literally the pressure, even for someone who likes really deep pressure, stays at about a 1 or maybe a 2. Another way to take your rolling pin up a notch is called the ultimate rolling pin. So we're going to take off the armchair because we're going to move everything around to the side. So I'm holding on and I'm going for a nice gliding warrior so that I end up in this position. Literally, I brought the blanket with me so that I'm not pushing my body into her shoulder, but I want to push into that shoulder to support from there. And I want to be able to bring my leg as far in front of her as possible. So you don't want to end up with your leg over here out to the side, you want it in the middle. And then I'm going to bring something like this bolster on my thigh so that I can make a nice pillow for her head. Okay, and that's what we want to get to. Now what happens here, because her upper back rounds, all that, some of the deeper muscles and everything come up to the surface. And also because she's relaxing, she can just hang out here for a lot longer. One little thing to keep in mind for your own body though is because you're reaching across the spine, you're reaching here, you actually have farther to reach than you did when you were behind her. So if you didn't have something under your knee when you were behind her, you might think to put something under now, okay? Depends again what your size relationship is. So from here again, you can do all the same things, but you're able to get farther down the back, the upper back. So really, if I was doing this for real, I would really slow it down. I would just kind of like, let's say right here, this is definitely a tense or sore area for stuff. So I'd really be slowing it down. I'd be slowly rolling through it, and pausing. Just kind of working it down. I could also use the point of my elbow to sink into some of these spots. I can massage the neck. Give the neck a little squeeze. So, good little, call it a rule of thumb, but really what I'm doing is putting my hands together and keeping them together as I let all my fingers just kind of squeeze all along the neckline. And I could even shampoo and massage the head as well. Okay, so the ultimate roll. Like that. Just circling my way in. We're using the tips of our fingers. We don't want to overdo it. Just find a few nice places to circle in this way. Sweep it all out. And then we'll bring her head up. You can let your bolster go in the front. You'll need it when you get to the other side. Hold on, and then a nice little hop, little glide back. And we're back in the initial position that we were at, so that we can do some of our 101 stuff. So here's our greasing the shoulder. So again, I start to slow it down and help to make bigger and bigger circles as I do it. Then my hand that was at the wrist goes for a walk down to the elbow, 2 hands at the elbow, her arm is resting on mine, and we'll do the cow face 1. Inhale. Exhale, short pause. Gradually bring her into a stretch and release. And again, inhale. And exhale. And then I can start to bring her a little deeper into it. With a little more of a pause and maybe a little deeper of a stretch. Release. And on the 3rd time, inhale and exhale and stretch. Then I like to hold it and squeeze here. I love to work this area a bit. So either with my palm or with my fist. And then when someone's flexible like Steph is, I can push in here a little bit, hold that, and then just kind of pull just a little bit more into the stretch. Find nice places where your hand can sink in. Sweet. 2 more new ones, and then we're going to practice. Okay, so here we go. Shiva and Shakti twist. Okay? We're adding twists into the fun. The hand that I was holding goes on the back of her head. The other one, if it was on my lap, I would take it off and put it across her body. The blanket comes out. And now here's the twist, here's the transition. So from here, you can even do a little test and see, okay, this is the natural direction for Steph to go. And I, as our rule of thumb, want to face her when she gets into her twist. So we're going to do our same kind of transition we actually did in the hip swing, where we do a warrior dance into possibly an open archer. Okay, and the key, like we said, is the little lunge, so that your knee that's up falls forward, and then you've turned your body 90 degrees, and then you can take her to release and repeat. Is this okay for you? Okay. Okay, so you can see I'm staying up here in warrior, or you can sit down and stay in open archer. I'm always a big fan of open archer if you can get here, but it doesn't always work out. Now here's some things to consider when we're doing the Shiva twist. One is this hand that's on the elbow. Okay, so what we're trying to do here is to create a twist through the whole back. We're not trying to open up the shoulder any more than it needs to help encourage the twist in the back. So if someone's really wide open in their shoulder and you keep pulling here at the elbow, they start to feel it deep in their shoulder. So you slide your hand down the tricep and do it from there. The other thing is your other hand on the back of the other shoulder. So one hand is pulling, the one that's here, the other one is pushing, and it can move as well. So if you move your hand a little bit farther down, she can feel the twist a little differently. It also helps to encourage a nice straight posture. So you can move your hand down and up. You can see, if you've been watching, now she's going a lot deeper into the twist because we really were very gradual in how far we took her each time. Okay, so either open archer or warrior. You typically stay up in warrior when you're working on someone who's a lot bigger than you or who can't go very far. So if this was their range of motion, for example, it's easier when you're up in warrior. Okay, after this, the transition and the next one is called the Shakti twist. So from here, if we were down in archer or open archer, you would just come up to warrior first, and then just kind of remember a couple of things. Hug. She gives herself a nice hug. Okay, so the hand that was at the back of her head, from back here, we just take it in the front, and she gives herself a hug. Then hold. I like to hold that bent elbow of that hugging arm and the far shoulder. And then we're going to go for a big glide. So my gliding warrior keeps going and going and going, and then I twist. So the way this twist works, I'm going to release this arm. The way this twist works is I have the hand on the elbow pulling, the hand on the shoulder pushing, and I keep going. It's the big glide so that this knee can rest on her leg to anchor her hip and twist. Release. So when I release, I can literally come back up and then repeat. So again, what are my hands doing? The hand that's on the back of this shoulder can move in different places. Again, she'll experience the twist a little differently. And this hand is on the elbow. So again, when you're working a bigger person, your hand may not reach this far. Okay, because what you want to maintain is space here. You don't want to be too close to them. So you hold anywhere on this arm where you can reach. So if it's the wrist, if it's the forearm, that's totally up to you. You'll see some twist. So there's our Shakti twist. From here, you're ready to go on the other side. In fact, your warrior is already the right warrior. Just reach for a blanket, tuck it in, and we're starting again with the rolling. So we can do the rolling pin. I'll go through them more quickly on this side. The splitting rolling pin, so get forearms together. One rolls and just kind of hangs out at the shoulder, while the other one, with really gentle pressure, goes up to the top of the head. And then the ultimate rolling pin. So again, the armchair comes off. You take the blanket with you. You move yourself all the way around so that you're literally got the middle of your body pushing into the outside of her shoulder, which allows your knee to come in front. The bolster can go on, the head can relax, and then you can do all the fun things to massage the other shoulder. Sweep it out. When you're done that, let's bring the head up. We'll take this off and bring everything again behind her. And then again, in our level 1 stuff, we can do releasing the shoulder into kind of this rhythm. And then we'll slow it down into the Shiva and the Shakti. So again, the Shiva twist goes like this. The head goes behind the hand goes behind the head. You're going to release this blanket. Take this hand across the body. So where I'm holding onto her is one hand on one shoulder, one hand on the bent elbow. And then it's this lunging forward as I do a 90-degree warrior dance. So lunge forward, bring this leg up, and there's my 90-degree. And then I do this. Release. And so again, if you're able to, sit down, have those nice longer arms. Also, as we said, your hand that's on the elbow can come down to the tricep, especially when someone is more open in their shoulder, and the hand that's on the other shoulder can move as well. You can go from those shorter pauses of 1 or 2 seconds once they've been kind of eased into the stretch, and now you can see we're more into the 5-second place. Moving on, you come up to warrior behind her. So again, if you were sitting in archer or open archer, you just take that same he does up and you just come all the way up. Hug. She gives herself a hug. Hold on. Big glide, coming all the way around. You keep gliding and twisting and turning. So, and then you twist her. Release and repeat. So the hand that's on the back of her shoulder can move into a couple of spots. And the hand that's holding her elbow, you only hold the elbow if you can do this in a way that maintains space here. If it's too close, hold higher up, like the wrist. And that's it. If it looks like a lot, you're not alone. Most people who first see Shiva Shakti see it as, a bunch of moves and a kind of like a coordinated dance, and it is kind of like that. It's a good thing we do it first. We've got all week to practice it, and you'll all get it. You'll see. It's really groovy and fun, and one of the best things to receive ever. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Find a partner, and I'll talk you through